This program is brought to you through the kind support of the Friends of That's What She Said. Support BCTV by visiting bctv.org/support.
It used to be great, now it's not so great, but it's still pretty great. Reading. Ate pretzels nonstop and pot pie no top. More dessert till we drop. Perks. Did they really say that? They did not say that. Yeah, they did say that. That's what she said.
Well, here we are. It's another month. It's another That's What She Said. I'm Jane Street, as always. And who else do we have here?
Me.
That's Sheila.
Sheila. I don't have my yarn today, if you noticed.
Well,
I had to relinquish it to Nicole.
because
I'm trying. I created such a mess.
You've knotted
with
your
it.
yarn.
Mm-hmm. She's helping me out, so.
And then we have Martha.
Hello.
And Nicole.
And Nicole with Sheila's naughty yarn.
I appreciate you.
And in our other seat, we have the Reverend Barbara Peronteau, who is joining us for a bit this evening because we love her so. And
it's nice to be loved.
Well, it is. Love is a wonderful thing, and I think that's a perfect segue to what we're dealing with at the top of the show, because what is in people's hearts when they do things like Orlando, the Orlando massacre that happened recently at the Pulse nightclub. Barbara spoke eloquently recently at the Center Park Vigil for Orlando, which we'll see a little bit of in a bit. But what are your thoughts on how hearts do that?
How hearts do
something like that.
Do you think there's such a thing as evil?
Oh, there's evil?
I mean, there really is evil.
There is evil,
yeah,
for sure.
Just evil.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I do believe in evil. I think cockroaches are evil. But
they are evil.
Actually, shall we see that piece that she spoke on? Yes. Let's roll that first.
It's a bunch of people. It's not just Barbara.
Oh, okay. It's several people at the Vigil for Orlando in Center Park with Barbara speaking as well.
Was that the day after it happened, wasn't it?
No.
It was Wednesday.
The next weekend.
It was Wednesday.
That's right, it was Wednesday.
So what happened was the thing happened on the shooting happened on Sunday. Right. Well, we heard the news on Sunday. It was late Saturday morning. Then on Monday, I got something on my Facebook that said, "Would you speak on the We Are the Pulse Vigil at Center Park on Wednesday?" And I said, "Sure." And then it sort of blossomed into something more, which was great. I mean, I think we ended up with 12 speakers at the end.
I have to say, Reading Pride Celebration did an amazing job in organizing.
Indeed, and that was put on by the Reading Pride Celebration, yes.
And actually, I forgot to do my house cleaning. You can Twitter us at She Tweets to Me. I've got the Twitter already. Or call us at 610-378-0426. We always love to hear from you. Now let's roll that video and see what the event was like at Center Park.
Like you, I woke up on Sunday morning and read about a horrific event that occurred in Orlando, Florida at the Pulse nightclub. 20 people, what I knew at the beginning, that were murdered at a nightclub. Then later, not too much longer, a horrific number, 49 people massacred at a nightclub. I was heartsick, like you, just devastated and can't believe that something like this could happen. And we can stand as a nation to make it clear that we stand with members of the LGBT community. We are going to do everything that we can to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. And it starts with making sure that everybody has their rights. And that includes the LGBT community.
We lift up those who are diagnosed with mental illness and refuse to stigmatize them further. And we lift up the voices of humans. The cry for wholeness. We all share the human cry. Let us hold to hope. Let us hold to love. Let us work together to transform the world so that all people can flourish. May it be so.
We do not have the luxury of silence. We can't turn away or not take action for fear of offending others, saying the wrong things, or stumbling into something controversial. The fact of the matter is that in a world where violence and hatred and systematic oppression continue to have tangible consequences, speaking up is not just a political act. It is a life or death act.
The LGBTQ community is not invisible here in Reading or anywhere else. We live next door to you. We work and go to school with you. We worship with you. We are human beings with thoughts and feelings. We look for acceptance and love just like everyone else. The LGBTQ community is not invisible. We are proud of who we are. We are not going away. We are who we are.
But I'm the one grieving. Me, up here in Reading, Pennsylvania. This massacre comes on the heels of the bathroom issue in North Carolina. And the whole Target issue. Can I go to the bathroom in Target, for crying out loud? And I didn't, and you know what? I didn't sign up for this. I am not the poster girl for someone else's ignorance. I didn't sign up to be the target of on the lethal end of an AK-47. But I've never been more proud than I am right now to know you and be part of this wonderful and beautiful LGBTQ community that I am right now. I love you, God loves you and embraces you. Peace, shalom, namaste, and salam.
Two of those individuals were in their late teens. 25 were in their 20s. 18 in their 30s. 3 in their 40s. And 1 in their 50s. Think what they could have contributed to our world.
Our leaders must act and they must lead. We are Reading, we are Orlando, and we are Pulse. Thank you.
On Sunday night, I had the good fortune of being at the Islamic Center with my council colleague, Chris Dabbert, and the hospitality of this gentleman standing here by me. We are all the human family. We can never forget that. We're more united by our common purpose in life and by our common goodness than we are by the misdeeds of some folks who decide that they'll go into a classroom and target 6-year-olds. They'll go into a movie theater and target people simply there for a good evening. That they'll target a nightclub. That they'll target little girls in an Amish schoolhouse. We're all human family. These victims are all of us. They're all of our kin because we all ultimately share 23 chromosomes. We share DNA.
Connell, 21 years old. Evan, Eugene, Crosby, 25 years old. Bianca, Deidra, Brayton, 32 years old.
Thank you.
Simon, Adrian.
Well, you can see, unfortunately, technology held sway, and Jamie, who was filming, his phone ran out of juice, so we didn't get the full context of everyone's speech. You can see the Barbara's entire address at our Facebook page. She posts to me on Facebook. It was an incredibly powerful event.
Indeed.
And I'm still a little speechless on the whole subject because so many lives were lost so ridiculously.
It's all ridiculous. It's just, I don't understand hatred. I don't understand, and I guess at my age, I ought to be able to understand. I thought at this age I would be able to understand more of people and what made people work, but I keep thinking of that John Donne, no man is an island, no man stands alone. Each man's death diminishes me, each man's grief is my own. I think, I don't know, I learned that poem somewhere back in junior high, and it touched me then, and it touches me more now. We are all one. I don't understand that. I don't understand. I guess that's just it. I am old, and I don't understand any more than I did when I was 5.
I think because it's not understandable.
Right.
That kind of. Sorry, you were.
Oh no, you're fine.
No, please.
It is understandable, and I don't know that you can come up with an answer because there is no answer. It just hangs there as something unresolved, and why did it happen? I don't know that there'll ever be an answer to the why question that would be acceptable. What possible answer could be acceptable for what happened in Orlando, or Sandy Hook, or
yes.
Aurora,
Right.
or
Right.
on college campuses in West Virginia, and Columbine, and the list goes on, doesn't it? And why does it go on? That's another question we could ask. Why do we allow this? Australia didn't allow this to go on.
And before we have that thought of Islamic terrorism that we keep hearing, this was not Islamic terrorism. This was terrorism. This was fundamentalist terrorism.
Mm-hmm. Regardless of where it came from.
Indeed.
And all those other instances that you just talked about were not. They were all just homegrown terrorism.
That he was Muslim was a shell.
Yeah.
It was a shell that held so many other people who have hatred in their heart.
But it had nothing to do with that.
But it had nothing to do with him being a Muslim.
It simply gave him an excuse.
Yeah, he hid behind it.
He hid behind it.
He hid behind it. He absolutely did.
And actually, I guess I don't want to put you on the spot, but as a member of the clergy, we often see a lot of this hatred being engendered and the fires being fed by the religious entities.
Right.
I mean, Islam says this is bad. Christianity says this is bad. I mean, in the days after the Orlando shooting, we had Christian pastors praising the event.
And I wonder how truly Christian they are. So, for example, one of the core stories that Jesus tells us is the story of the Good Samaritan. So he was asked 2 questions, right? Well, he was asked one question: what is the greatest commandment of all? Jesus gave us a 2-parter: love your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength, and all that you have. Love your God. The second is just like it. It's like this two-part commandment: love your neighbor as yourself. And then he gets a snarky question back: who's my neighbor, right? And then he launches into the Good Samaritan story. He never, if you look at that story carefully, he never answers the question about who's my neighbor. But what he does answer is how we take some care of somebody who's marginalized, who's been beaten up, right? And so what we have now is that we have religion beating people up. We're the ones beating people up. And we're not following the path of Jesus when he says, love your neighbor. Take care of the one who's been marginalized, who's ostracized, who you've kicked out of your house. Don't kick anybody out of your house because they're not the way you want them to be. They are who they are. Jesus tells us to love. So what don't we get about that?
And that's the whole message, is love. That's the whole message of the New Testament, is love. And
I think so.
And I think that's still
I mean, honestly, if there's any war on Christianity, it is against those who use Christianity as a shield, a weapon, and who have no concept of what Christianity actually is.
I just think this goes so far beyond. I saw what I thought was the most beautiful part after Orlando was when they had one of the funerals, or some of the funerals, Fred Phelps and his, and I know this is television, so I can't use the words that I'd like to describe him, were there picketing across the street. And I forget how many dozens of people from Orlando made big angel wings of sheets, and they simply stood in front of all of Fred Phelps' gathering so that they couldn't see them. He's
actually passed away. It's the Westboro Baptist.
Right.
I know that is.
Yeah.
I just didn't know any names.
I just thought that was that.
I mean, I don't understand why.
They were there. They were there at Shepard's. What was this?
Oh, Matt Shepard's.
Matt Shepard's funeral.
Right.
Oh. Yeah, they were there then too.
And they go to all the military casualties that are brought back too.
I'm talking about the angels. The angels were there as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Kind of making holy space for.
But what will happen? We have this great energy, and now it's it was huge energy for a while, and now other things have come up in the news, so it's kind of petering down. We always have this, we have to do something, and then we don't. And I guess what I'm really talking about is guns, but, and then we don't. And then, how could we not have done anything after Sandy Hook, after 20-some children? How could we not have done anything? How could we not do anything after this? And still, when the bill came up to one house in Congress or the other, one of the congressmen said, well, it was too soon. If he voted for it now, it would be emotion driving him. He would need weeks to study it. That's the whole point.
There should be some emotion there.
The end. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. When people are dead, there should be emotion.
Yes, you think.
That this isn't really inconceivable or arcane.
No.
It's a reality.
Those emotions will be all over the place, I think, because we're still grieving.
Absolutely.
And we don't know what to do with that.
No.
And what do we do with that?
I think we don't let it go. We acknowledge that we have these different feelings that are grief, anger, fear certainly plays into this. Hope. There's time of resolution. What is it the outcome that you want to have done, and you're going to feel a lot of all this at the same time. It'll be like a crazy quilt, but acknowledge that all that is happening, and don't ignore it. Let it come through, flow through, and inform you. Our emotions inform us. We like to think they don't, but they do. But we need to connect with our emotions. Say, why am I feeling this way? What's going on when I feel this way? Whatever that way is. It could be sadness one day and anger another. Making sense out of things and then confusion the next day. And that's all perfectly normal and natural and part of who we are. But don't let it go.
We kept something like what happened at Center Park and all the other gatherings that were done spontaneously, that were well organized and happened quickly. We mustn't stop doing that. We mustn't. wait for national holidays. I think we have to continue doing it, just like the man who stands on the Penn Street Bridge and has stood there for how many months and months every Friday? Years, right.
With the signs.
Yes,
Right,
John,
right.
John, I can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, I think, that kind of thing. You don't give up, you don't stop. You don't let it peter out.
Well, we've had an interesting tweet from our friend Jason, who says Congress will not act on gun control until it affects them personally.
Indeed.
And sadly, I kind of...
Oh, indeed.
Except it has Gabrielle Giffords.
Yes.
Well, that's true.
Yes.
Gabrielle Giffords was shot and still.
Yes.
Yes, and still manages to speak eloquently on...
Well, if it doesn't affect, okay, so Congress is supposed to represent us.
That's right.
And if we're the ones who are being shot at, as citizens, whether you're watching a movie or you're dancing in a nightclub or going to school, we're the citizens. If it doesn't affect them, then they are not in touch.
Well, except they are in touch. They're in touch with who pays them, which are the corporations who choose to...
And the NRA.
And the NRA. I mean, there's the thought of everyone joining see, and I'm not anti-gun. I am anti-stupid guns.
Right. Not everybody needs a gun.
I'm
and nobody needs an assault rifle.
Exactly. Nobody. Absolutely. But nobody needs an assault rifle.
And look, I'm not anti-gun. I have friends and students that are hunters, and I was talking to my mom about this a lot because my parents are very pro-gun. But my mom had an interesting point. She and I were talking about it, and we were like, why don't you kind of equate it to vehicles? Vehicle has a purpose, right? But it's 2 tons of man-killing machine.
Except I had to take a test.
Exactly.
That's the point.
A gun has a purpose,
No.
but it's also a man-killing machine.
Yeah.
So why should we not have regulations on that item that are also on this item?
Exactly.
And I feel that that's reasonable.
I mean, there are plenty of reasonable and sensible ideas out there. Have a registry so that if your gun gets stolen or lost and it's used at a crime,
it wasn't you.
It wasn't you, and it was you, or you can track the darn thing. Just having to take a stupid test to get one, having a background check to make sure you aren't.
Making sure that background checks are actually employed
Or I
and
could go to a gun
utilized.
show and none of that would be necessary.
Yeah, it's this thing of you want your freedoms and you want your freedoms, but with great power also comes great responsibility.
And I will say this, because obviously I'm the only one here. I am anti-gun.
No,
I don't
no,
care
Barbara-
about the,
Barbara
I don't
said she
care
was
about the
anti-gun.
hunters or the, if they're hunting for food and they need that for sustenance, fine. Just going out and shooting game, I'm not condemning them, but I am anti-gun. I'm just not. I see no reason for guns in today's society today. And the people who say, well, if somebody been in that club with some
Can you
guns,
imagine a dark,
it would have been a
loud
disaster.
club
Can you imagine
full
how
of
many
people with
Somebody
guns
shooting
shooting?
over there and shoot over there.
Somebody was
And
in
frankly,
that club
there
with a
were
gun.
people in that club with guns.
I'm
The
sure there
security
were.
guards had guns.
Right.
And
Yeah, but there's already shooting going on. How
Yeah.
do you just start firing madly?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Have you been in a club?
it's
Scary.
just makes me...
But I think it's going to be a
Beside
very
myself.
hard thing to change in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christina agrees about the vehicles.
Thanks, Christina. Christina does.
And if I'm not allowed to fly, if I'm on the no-fly list, should I really be allowed to have a gun?
Or a vehicle.
The NRA says...
Or a vehicle.
See, and this is what...
Exactly.
And this is what just burns my buttons. Something like this happens constantly, continually, and we ask for reasonable things to be put in place, and suddenly people are like, you're taking away my guns. No. No one is taking away your guns. We just want to make sure that, to the best of our ability, that reasonable people have them.
I think that
And-
second amendment has been grossly misinterpreted.
Agreed.
And grossly.
Yes.
But
All right. By the way, Amber, our dear friend Amber, who's usually in the booth, is on vacation, and she says she is with us in spirit.
hi,
And-
Amber.
Hi, Amber.
And our producer says we should move on.
Well, we know
So,
that we could talk about this.
But before we move on, I want you to tell us about the interfaith service, which is coming up. When is that?
Okay, so we have the Reading Pride Celebration Interfaith Service, and that is July 7th. It's a Saturday.
Okay.
July 9th.
July 9th.
July 9th at 7 o'clock. All Souls Ecumenical Catholic Communion is hosting it. However, they are using Calvary United Church of Christ's main sanctuary. So you kind of follow me on that.
Where is that?
It's another congregation that shares our building, and they're going to be using Calvary United Church of Christ Sanctuary. Calvary is located at 640 Center Avenue, Reading, Pennsylvania, 19601.
Wonderful. And
then a week later, on the, I want to say, is it the 17th? Is Reading Pride in the park.
is it on Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday the 16th.
16th. See, this is what confuses me. So
Math.
it's the 16th.
It's that math. It gets you every time.
7 days a week.
It's the following Saturday, Sunday.
That would be the 17th.
That would be the 17th.
Right.
It's
It's July 7th at
July
July
7th.
7th is a Saturday. That's the interfaith service
At 7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock.
Saturday is July 9th.
Oops. July.
Okay.
July
well,
9th.
Who's on first? One last time.
July 9th
July.
at 7 o'clock.
All right.
Interfaith service.
Happy.
July 9th.
July 9th. Saturday, July 9th
And the neat
at
thing
7
about
o'clock.
this is we have Christian, we have Native American, we have Buddhist, and we have Jewish, and we have Muslim participation.
Wonderful. 7 o'clock. On the
And we are celebrating, and the theme of the interfaith service is reclaiming your faith. And I think there's a lot of things that we need to reclaim as the LGBT community. Reclaim our place in politics, reclaim our place in the whole dialogue. The dialogue of America has just gotten out of hand, and it's not just guns that's going on. It's hatred
Yes.
toward the LGBT community. Like I said in my speech, it's coming right off the heels of the North Carolina bathroom issue. And we have a non-discrimination bill that's being held up in Harrisburg, and it needs to come out of committee. And last I heard, it is out of committee, but we need to make sure that it comes out of committee whole. That covers everything, job discrimination, public housing, and public accommodation.
Do you know the number of that? The number of the bill?
The name is called the Fairness Act.
Okay, so we could call our congressman.
Indeed. Call, email, write, phone.
The Fairness Act.
It's called the Fairness Act. So yes, that needs to have happened. And you saw Judy Swank up there talking and giving that same speech. Yes, contact Judy, contact the Republicans, because they're the ones that are stalling, and they're hearing the fear from the other people. They need to hear the hope and the desires and the dreams that we have too.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
And we've been told that actually Reading Pride is the Sunday, July 17th. But the interfaith service is still
The 9th.
Saturday, July 9th.
Right. Whoops.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
what a
Well,
crummy-
thank you so much,
crummy
Barbara, for
person
being
that
with
I
us.
am.
We know you. It's obvious you had a long day.
A long day. Oh, the flight from Paris was dreadful.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
And-
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness!
come back
it's-
again.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, please. My Yes.
Yeah.
My pleasure, that's the word.
All right. Roll that little break thing we have. You're watching That's What She Said. Join Martha. We're always daring. Sheila. And a little bit twisted. Nicole. Good for all seasons. And me, Jane Street, with just the right amount of spice. Visit us at youtube.com/vids That's What She Said to view snippets and full episodes of our past shows. Everyone must Facebook, and we do too. Like our page at facebook.com/ShePostsToMe. Stay in the know. And don't forget Twitter at SheTweetsToMe. Don't want to be bothered by all those words, dots, and slashes? Just visit our page at twss.tv and use the social media links at the top to find us online. You can also visit our guest page, where you can see who's been on our show and follow links to the episodes on which they appeared. How convenient. Get the scoop on all the ladies of That's What She Said. Remember, some of us are single. Don't forget to bookmark twss.tv. And now, back to the show. Sheila just said that's an old video, but we were still eating.
We're always eating.
We're always eating. Speaking of exits, let's talk about the Brexit.
Is there a lesson to be learned there?
Is there a lesson to be learned there?
Because the British want a redo. Because they really weren't thinking about what this involved. Like their health care is going to go up. Their pound is going to be devalued up to 20%. Their phone service and some of the freedoms of the phone service are going to be interrupted.
And their ability to travel freely throughout the rest of Europe and trade freely.
Exactly.
Yes, and work
freely.
Yes.
And
you know, I've been hearing about they're saying, well, I didn't really, somebody said when I pressed that, when I put the leave sign down, I felt so free. I felt so free. And now, I hadn't thought about those other things.
They didn't quite think it
This is a lesson
through.
to be learned. Or the people who didn't go out and vote because they thought it was a done deal. Of course we're not going to leave. And so they didn't vote.
And then this
A lesson to be learned, Americans.
This is a cautionary tale about our upcoming election.
Indeed it is.
The one that hit me for that very reason was someone who was interviewed said, well, I voted for it because I didn't really think it would actually happen.
Exactly.
Well, you idiot! Why do you think voting counts?
You're part of the problem.
Like, that counts. That counts.
Yeah. And only the British would say, could we have a redo, please?
They want to redo?
Well, there's a whole, I mean, there are millions of names now on a new...
17 million voted to leave, and now over 2
They should have
million
thought
have
about
asked,
this
2 million
before.
of that 17 have said, can we do it
Oops.
again?
Have said oops.
I mean, that's literally it.
Let's wait a
They haven't
minute.
said it's oops.
Mm-hmm.
And let's make sure November is not an oops.
Indeed.
But my goodness, it's such a mess. There's so many. This is the thing. You think about an ideology, but you don't think of the repercussions that ideology may incur. And well,
If you have not watched the HBO show last week with John Oliver,
Oh, my goodness.
the show that was on last week before this vote came up has an amazing song, an anthem to Ode to Joy from the British to the European Union. I haven't seen the one that was on last night, but the song is I can't repeat it because, again, this is HBO, but we are not on HBO.
oh, from your lips, this
Hysterically
isn't
funny.
HBO. This is BCTV,
Right.
which we're very happy with.
But John Oliver's show's really done a very good job with.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's just shocking. Actually, we forgot to talk about this, and one wonderful thing that I was happy to see, and it's that callback to the 60s, the sit-in in Congress.
Oh, yes.
Yay, John Lewis. He is...
That's exciting.
It was. Let's hope it actually really does something, which we haven't actually seen it do, but
It could.
Oh, you know,
It
Paul
could.
Ryan said it was just a publicity stunt, really.
Paul Ryan has pulled more publicity stunts than Donald Trump.
And that's saying something.
Indeed.
I think John Lewis is really one of my heroes.
He's an American hero.
He really is. I have to keep reminding myself, he's from Georgia.
Really?
What an anomaly.
Indeed. That's it. Harriet Tubman on the front of the $20 bill, and John
Lewis.
Harriet
on the
Tubman
back.
was just here right before.
She was.
I don't know if any of you were watching, but Harriet Tubman was live right here in this room.
She was. It was quite lovely to see her.
It's been a while.
And
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
She's held up well, hasn't she?
Yeah,
Must be
me
that,
too, right?
whatever she's using, we need to find out.
how's that unknotting going?
She's getting really far.
Sheila-
Look at her.
Real with it.
Sheila-
How the heck did you do that?
Sheila is naughty. Look, I
Did you let your cats play with the string or something?
It was this cat right here. I messed it up. I have no idea how.
It just turns out that I like things that are a lost cause and quite frustrating.
But it's certainly
probably why I'm in
Nicole
public
busy.
education.
Well, indeed.
And I don't, which is why I'm not.
I may have come to an impasse at this thing right here.
Oh, no.
It moves in one direction, but not the other, so I'm not sure if it's...
My suggestion is cut it and knot it. And
Yeah.
go on anywhere.
No,
I have
by the
certainly
end of
done
this
that.
show, we are going to have this thing unknotted.
That's our goal.
This is our goal.
I got it.
All right,
We can do it.
but really,
I know. What's this way? Hey, I helped.
is there any safe place left? And I think the answer easily is no.
The house.
Well, is it?
I wonder. I mean, bad things
Of
happen in
course
the
not.
home too sometimes.
I mean,
But what is safety? What is
Exactly.
safety? It's a relative term, and what are you willing to sacrifice for your
Where do you go,
safety?
Nicole, when you want to feel, where do you go that you can say, when I'm here, I feel safe?
My grandma's house.
Okay, last week the New York Times ran a big article and interviewed a number of gay and lesbian people that we know their names about their first experience in a gay bar. And when I read it, the thing that really touched me was the way they talked, and many of them went to a gay bar when they were far underage, but it was the first time that they had felt safe.
Oh.
And the one, and I can't remember who it was, said that he went to an Ivy League school and he used to go to the fraternity things, and then he would sneak out and go into to a gay bar so that nobody would see him. But when he finally could breathe after he got in and felt
He felt like that was
safe.
where he belonged.
that, when I read that, because I've never felt that way, that I had to find a place where I can just be me and I can breathe, and safe places. It's very sad. Schools, we never thought, those of us who started teaching when I did, never thought that school wasn't a safe place. And then when suddenly it wasn't, it was
church.
very frightening. Church.
Church should be the safest place of them all. You can't even go to a church without worrying something may happen.
Indeed. I mean, it's not in any way comparable to the gentleman who were speaking. But when my late husband threw me out of the house and just upended and destroyed my life, I was left bereft. I too found my safe harbor because I was an actress.
Right.
I found that in the gay bars.
Right.
And I found a welcoming community that embraced me and loved me, and that too was my safe place.
Right.
And just in this time to find that all our hearts are being rendered by such. I'm babbling.
No, I think the idea of a safe place, I never really thought about before. I did think about it.
It is a new concept, isn't it?
As a teacher,
a safe place.
School was a lot of kids' safe places. You know, that was the place that kids would go to and feel safe. And then Columbine happened, and we teachers realized that we were not able to keep people safe.
We're getting too darn heavy. This is a comedy show, damn it. Darn it. Ooh.
Jay!
Sorry.
Lemon tongue.
And now we're a dirty show.
No, now we're a dirty show. I will pay my fine afterwards. But roll that tape. You can throw an F-bomb.
That's me. Okay, surprise topic. Okay, so the reason I'm going to ask this question is because we had a bit of a situation at my house, and I'll tell you what happened yesterday. One of our toilets blew up yesterday.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was in the kitchen, my roommate was taking a nap, and our toilet just exploded on its own,
So it
water
wasn't
everywhere.
full?
No, it was just the hose broke right off the back on its own.
Well, that matters. I mean, no one wants a full toilet.
Major flood. It was terrible. So, obviously, that's a stressful situation. Had I been home by myself, I probably would have gone berserk. Very crazy. Like, I don't know how to handle situations like that. And we don't have a normal toilet where you turn the knob and the water turns off. It's in the living room with a key, and it's like new school. Yeah, it's bizarre. We control the water to the entire unit, but with a key. But yeah, so we didn't find that key right away because when you're in panic mode, you don't think, you're like, where's the knob?
Hide the water turning off key.
It's like a pressure washer in the toilet going off in the bathroom. The water always filling up. We're like, oh gosh. Disaster.
And you live in an apartment.
Yes. Well, yeah, normally, like I said, I'm the one that would freak out, but that was my roommate's job this time. He went completely berserk. So I'm like, all right, so I need to be the adult here this time around. So yeah, so like in stressful situations, are you usually the one that is the calm one? Do you keep the voice of reason, or do you freak out, or does it depend on the situation? Clearly I had to adapt because normally I'm the one that does freak out, but this time I was not given that option. Somebody stole it from me.
Well, I think that's perspective. Because Jamie would certainly say in his dealings with me that I am not the calm one. However, in my dealings with him, I would say that he was not the calm one. I find myself to be pretty level-headed, unless I'm not.
Unless you're not.
What do you mean, really? You seem shocked by that.
Well, a little bit.
Let's go to Martha while I recover.
I've had so much to say tonight. I'm kind of at a loss because honestly, I am not good in a crisis. I have to say that I'm really not. I once had someone break into my apartment when I was alone with my children when they were very little, and I was so scared. When the police came, when we were living in Italy, the police came and it wasn't until much later that I honestly thought, I wonder if the kids are okay. And I still feel so guilty about that because he tried to break into my bedroom from the balcony. I was so scared. I'm not good in a crisis. I kind of shut down.
Same.
You don't want me.
Yeah, I'm not the one.
You don't want me when your toilet explodes. I bet you're good in a crisis.
I tend to compartmentalize and rationalize things pretty well. I mean, my best example is when I went into labor at school. And I was supposed to take kids on a field trip, and
no trip today.
all of a sudden, I'm standing in my hallway and my water breaks. And I mean, I'd never done it before, so I'm standing there going, "What is that?" And then it slowly dawned on me. So I quietly come back to my hallway where my kids were, impatiently, because they're teenagers, waiting for something. I'm like, hey guys, can you just please go in the classroom for a little bit? And I, call the nurse up and I'm like, I think I'm in labor and I think maybe I should go to the hospital. And she starts freaking out. She's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, calm down. Maybe I shouldn't have called you. And she comes running down with a wheelchair, and she's freaking out. Now, see, what I freaked out about was I still wanted the kids to go on the field trip. So I'm yelling at the principal, and I'm like, they can still go.
And they did go, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
Oh.
They did not go. The principal's like, you have bigger issues to deal with. Don't worry about it. We'll handle it. I'm like, you won't handle it. You won't let them go.
They didn't get another teacher?
They didn't go, no. So, but I think
I think we can skip that. All right, we can't skip that. All right.
Anyway.
Our producer is like shoving us along this evening. So
Sometimes we need it.
well,
Yeah.
all right. We're going roll that next tape.
That's for sure.
All right, so I wanted to skip this because could be extended, but it's time for Jane's Etiquette Corner, and Jamie asked me to do something about the local situation, and or the I don't know. He's doing something. He's doing something with his fingers.
They were playing the video, so no one heard you.
Oh well, I thought I was on. That kind of show, folks. Anyway, Jamie asked me to do an etiquette corner this week, and or this month, and I searched and searched for something that was meaningful to me in here, and I just couldn't. You know, in society we have searched and searched and searched through books, Emily Post. Breakfast with Santa, things I learned over summer camp. We have searched on TV, Oprah, Dr. Phil. Why the heck can't we just look in our hearts? We have searched for how to behave as a human being. Shouldn't we just know how to behave as a human being without some outside guidance?
Sometimes it's hard.
Don't know.
Ask me how I know that. I'm just saying. I've heard.
But it isn't. Yes, it is hard, but it's what we should endeavor to be. And even when it's hard, we know what the heck is right, and we know what the heck is wrong.
How about that?
And sometimes,
question, just do unto others, I don't want to go back, but, is this what I would want someone to do to me? And if it's not, then probably I shouldn't do that. And that's kind of a simple one,
Mm-hmm. It is.
It should be, but obviously it's not.
I understand that we have come from we started out as a warlike tribe. People had to survive. People had to build a world. People had to fight one another to get the available resources because we didn't know we could eat that. We didn't know we could build that. We didn't know we could do that. But at this point, there's more than enough for everybody. And we don't need to keep on fighting. We don't need to keep on killing. We don't need to keep on not giving people things because we want them. There are plenty of people who are hurting. There are plenty of people who are starving. There are plenty of people who are in need. And we want to hold on to what's ours because it's ours. We have enough stuff. There's enough stuff to go around.
Oh, there's too much stuff.
And that is my etiquette corner.
Yay.
Play the outro.
It's Jane's Etiquette Corner.
Any old dust.
What dust are you breathing in over there?
When you slammed the book shut, it went poof. I was like, whoa!
Are you saying Emily Post has a dusty book?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I stand by it. Sorry, Emily.
Well, she is old at this point. As are we all. Oops, wait, what's this tweet here? Oh. All right, then.
Uh-oh.
No, it's fine. Well, I'm not even going to go there because that's not... Well, we're full of dark subjects tonight. How about the guy who was found at his house after 3 days?
Oh, gosh.
Or 3 years, rather. 3 years.
That's sad. That is really sad. How
I
come nobody
and
followed up on
But
this
it
speaks
goes
to
right
what...
back to what you were talking
Exactly.
about. How can somebody... He had neighbors who didn't see him.
Nobody noticed.
He must have gone to some places. They didn't see him, and nobody asked. But where is he? People
How
knew
could
where
you
he
not
lived.
notice somebody is coming, not dealing with their life.
Right.
They probably did notice, and they just probably kind of minded their own
Yeah,
business.
not my business. Right.
Like a
This episode is like Celia and the Burning Horses, isn't it?
Right.
Celia and the Burning
Yeah,
My
Horses.
God, every page we turn is just.
the happiest thing we talked about was my toilet blowing up.
It's kind of like,
Which is all good now. They brought this cool machine in. It's a giant box, and it's a dry back. The carpets are floating. They aerate the carpets.
Wow.
Back to toilets.
It's the best machine ever. I don't want to
Sometimes that's the best place you could be.
Yeah.
in the toilet.
Hey, instead of keeping
On
it
the
dark,
toilet.
let's learn our lesson from this. You're a community of people. We are all in this together. And if you think that it's too forward to knock on the door and say hello, knock on the door and say hello. The worst that can happen is that they'll slam the door in your face,
Or don't answer.
that you'll find a 3-year dead body.
but you know, the other thing is, and you, those of you who are native Berks Countyans
Look at her keep pouring that.
know that this is the place where, and I grew up here and then moved away and came back, and I have to say, this is a very cold place.
Yes.
Because I have neighbors, and I have heard this. We're there if you need us, but we don't just go running in. Sometimes in places that I've lived other than Berks County, where people just do go running in, has been wonderful. I mean, we do have that, we're standoffish, and so
Guilty.
I haven't seen him, but I certainly don't want to be nosy.
Same.
Yeah, and that's
I'm
just,
the same way.
it's really difficult here in Berks
Yeah, I guess
County.
I can see that as a transplant myself.
Right.
My
Someone who grew
roommate,
up
when he
outside
moved
of-
in,
I moved back
he
here-
knows all of our neighbors. I'm like, how do you know all these people? He's like, I said hi.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you just say hi.
I'm just going
I'm
to
from New
warn you.
York. I don't do that.
That somehow we've managed to get down to less than 4 minutes left of this show.
Yeah, well,
And
But the yarn.
Oh yeah, I'd like to say that.
did you do it?
Mama did it. there's
with-
one spot
with
in there
3
that's a little iffy, but
With
there
3
you go.
minutes to spare, Nicole has untangled that horrendous knot.
Look, if I can entertain that yarn, then we can be good people on this planet.
That's right, because I couldn't entertain that yarn.
But because I don't want to miss anything, does anyone have anything to announce to... Is there anything upcoming that you...
well, they're all
have anything
the
coming up,
markets,
right?
there's the Penn Street Market.
Oh, indeed.
It must be really neat. I haven't been there.
It is
Is
fun.
it every Thursday?
Oh, Thursday?
Is it Thursday? I forget what
I
day
thought
it
you were
is.
talking about the one on Sunday.
Sundays. You mean West?
No, I'm not
West-
talking about the one in West Reading is on Sundays, but there's one on
Oh,
Penn
yeah,
Square.
yeah, on Penn Square.
One
Yeah,
Penn
you're right.
Square.
Thursdays.
On
Really?
Thursdays.
Yes.
Interesting.
And it
They
must
have
be wonderful.
music,
Yes.
food, vendors,
Yes.
everything. There's
Yes.
so much stuff.
And I
I
think-
work right there, so I
Right,
see it. Like
right.
every time I come into work, I see the whole chaos. It's wonderful.
And
It's
of
really
course,
cool.
and every Sunday in West Reading, but the one in Reading is new, and I hope
It is
people.
new. It's
There's
only been the
nothing
last
like a
couple of
farmer's
months.
market. Just support your local growers.
Yep,
It's fun.
Absolutely.
And I guess I should mention my friend Kirk is in at the Dutch Mary Pobbins, which is it's spectacular.
I
It's
hear it's
absolutely
wonderful.
I can't wait to see it.
spectacular. It runs through August
go see it.
6th. You can get more information at dutchapple.com. I urge you to go. It blew me away. Also, my dear friend Michael Potter, I am wearing his nail polish this evening again. I
Oh.
forgot to mention it on last show. Go to koknockout.com. koknockout.com. He has a full range of wonderful nail polishes. We love Michael. He did the makeup and hair for Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And
And now he has his own nail polish.
he does. And some of it is,
Wow.
like this one, is
I wish I had
from his
nails.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch line.
Oh, that's fancy.
But he has other
That's
stuff
really
too.
cool.
It's all this rock and roll. He's a rock and roll guy.
I dig it. I love
punk
that.
rock and roll guy. So we are
1
coming
minute.
down
Oh my
to the
gosh.
end. My goodness. Let's see what. Oh, there's nothing more we can say in 1 minute, is there? Really? Do you have anything to say, Jamie?
When's our next show?
When's our next show? Thank you, Sheila. Our next show is Monday, July 25th, of course,
That's right
at
before my
9 o'clock. And we want to thank, as always, BCTV, who is running a wonderful GoFundMe matching campaign. So go to bctv.org on your computer and look for that, because I'm sure they have a link there. And support BCTV, because they let us do this.
It's fun.
Indeed. And they are amazing. And we want to thank Joan, Josh, and Cameron for being here and putting us on the air tonight. And hope Amber is having an amazing vacation. And oh, my goodness. Yes. And Barbara, who is just always an amazing light to have with us. And we want to say thank you and goodbye. See you Monday, July 25th at 9.